It's the Brad and John Show.
We start fresh. Okay, today is November 22nd. This is C Block, and I give that information for those people going like, okay, why would he be saying that? Because if you listen to these shows in the future on podcast or on the YouTube channel, you'll know when this date was, and hopefully it'll make sense. Okay, can I promote something I'm involved in right now?
Oh, yeah, please do, Brad.
Okay.
Is it bankruptcy court?
Tomorrow, I am a guest speaker for the 2024 Candidate School in St. Charles County. This is put on by...
Oh, wow, that's awesome, Brad.
This is put on by the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee, okay? Can I give you the agenda of and I'm telling you, I'm like feeling real important because of the fact that I'm sandwiched in between all these important people.
I want to hear it, yeah.
8 o'clock, it'll start off with a welcome from Bob Eno, who is the chairman of the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee. Then Tom Smith will be on there. Do you know who Tom Smith is?
Yeah, you know him, right?
Yes, owner of St. Charles. He's owner of Survey St. Louis. He's a guy that helps candidates get elected, okay?
And he owns the Soda Museum.
Is that the same guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay. Mike Sommer. Do you know Mike Sommer?
Yeah, his wife of former state rep Chrissy Sommer. Mike Sommer has been on the Francis House School Board for many years, yeah.
Mike Sommer, to me, is one of the most amazing people because he's got everybody who needs to, who needs anything in his phone. I mean, you say, hey, Mike, can you help me? My horse threw a horseshoe the other day. Well, I've got 3 guys right now who are expert at horseshoeing. I mean, this guy is so incredibly connected. He's a CPA and he runs he's the treasurer for a lot of candidates running for office and things like that, okay? He's on from 9:10 to 10 o'clock. Then it's me, 10 o'clock to 10:30. From 10:30 to 11, Tim Jones, president of Elevation Strategies, former Missouri Speaker of the House, state director of the Mo Freedom Caucus. And then at 11 to 11:30, guess who it is?
Brad Hildebrand.
Bill Eigel.
Oh, nice.
So
very good.
Bill Eigel comes on right behind me, and then 11:30 to 11:45, Ryan Henke and Jan Olson, Wentzville School Board members, and 11:45 in the noon, Adam Bertrand and Randy Cook, who are Francis House School Board members. They'll talk about being elected and stuff like that. And the whole idea behind this is to mainly the candidates who show up for this candidate school are very, very, very entry-level people of the political stream. They are usually running for school board or, some kind of, committee person or maybe an alderman in a muni or something like that. So anyway, I did it one time, year and a half before, and I enjoyed it because of the fact that what's interesting about this is I am Mr. Contrarian. You know this about me. I'm Mr. Disruptor. And about halfway through my presentation at the time, I was hired that time by Dave Zucker, who was the former mayor of Darden Prairie, who's a wonderful guy, an attorney, but a little bit on the dry side. And if Dave were listening, he would probably agree with me. And I'm watching him as I'm giving my presentation because I'm just like sort of letting loose and telling people they should be doing crazy stuff and doing weird stuff that normally they wouldn't be doing. And Dave gives me sort of a strange look, and I stopped and I said, I guess I'm not going to be invited back again, am I? And he looks at me and he says, no, you're doing a wonderful job. Keep going. Because what I was trying to tell them is you don't necessarily have to follow the footsteps of everybody else and do the same boring radio commercials and the same boring signs and the same boring this and the same boring that, because it's like we've talked about before. Trump came out and actually made some little jabs at since the election, because what's going on with the election funds for the Republicans? They still have money in the bank. The Democrats, they are overspent. They're still asking for money to pay off debts that they incurred, and they spent, $1.5 billion, and they didn't get elected?
Yeah, you're exactly right.
And Trump has even talked about the fact that a lot of his success was due to earned media. You and I have talked about this before, that when you're like doing advertising or you're doing like public relations or like what John used to do, there's 2 ways you get your message across. You buy advertising time in radio, TV, billboards, whatever, or you call up the local talk show host on a radio station and say, hi, I'm John Combest, and I have a client that really is good at talking about XYZ. Oh, we'd love to have that client. Come on over. And you get on the air for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever, and guess how much you paid for that, John?
None. I mean, you pay your time, your spokesperson's time, your time in setting it up, but you don't write a check for it.
John, you missed your intro. That guess how much you paid for that, John?
Oh, 0.0.
There you go.
I am Dean Wormer today. Thank you for that setup.
Okay. I would love
So
when
you're going to speak there.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Brad. That's fantastic.
Well, and once again, the crazy thing about this is these are people, these are not necessarily, and I don't want to sound like I'm being like,
Condescending.
Right. But these are very low level. They're the kind of people that woke up
Entry level, not low level, but
entry level. They're the people that woke up one morning and said, you know what, I'm tired of the way this is run. I think that if I were on the school board or I were, when I did it before, there were a couple state rep people in there, but mainly it was school board and muni aldermen and council people and stuff like that. And they've decided that they want to make a difference and they want to be on these boards or whatever it is, the government agencies, stuff like that. And they find out the realization that it's not who you are or who you know or how much money you have. It's how good of a campaign you can run, correct?
Yeah, and it also depends on the makeup of the district. So
Right.
If you're a Republican running in a Democrat district, you have no chance.
Right.
If you're a Democrat running in a Republican district, you have no chance.
Right. Same kind of thing. So it'd be interesting. I love doing this stuff. For those of you, my background, I'm not trying to beat my chest. I used to teach at Flow Valley, taught at Flow Valley for a long time, taught at Lindenwood. I used to be like a guest speaker all the time at Logan College of Chiropractic, which was always fascinating to me. I used to do that 3 times a year, but once again, COVID came along and that ended. I've always enjoyed that, and to the point where one of the nice things that's happened to me through the years, I've had people that I've spoken in front of before and I've given advice to have called me up and said, wow, I was at your seminar and you did this and it really helped me out, and I'm a very successful chiropractor, or I won my race for office and stuff like that. And so anyway, I just sort of pounding my own chest on that, and I'm looking forward to that, which should be a lot of fun. Okay, my traffic tickets, my parking tickets, okay? Once upon a time, I got this, and I will give the license plate out over the air, and I love personalized license plates. Almost all my vehicles have personalized license plates, and I don't have my name or anything like that. I love interesting plates, and I got the license plate of XX, okay? 2 X's, that's all it is.
Yeah, so Dos Equis. That's why everybody
Right.
calls you Dos Equis.
Right, okay. With that license plate, I've had not 1, not 2, but 3 felony traffic stops. And probably the funniest one was, funny, now I look back and it wasn't funny at the time. I'm driving along Manchester. I'm driving west of Manchester, west of Clarkson, and I see there's a police officer behind me, and he's right on my tail. And he hasn't lit me up yet, and I'm driving, 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 probably 2-3 miles. He's right on my tail. Finally, the lights come on, and I pull over on the side, and he gets on his speaker, pull into the subdivision, pull into the subdivision. There's a subdivision a little bit up the street. I pull into the subdivision. He pulls up right behind me, does not get out of his car. I'm going like, okay, this is not good. And I'm doing my perfect traffic stop thing with my hands on the steering wheel, and I'm looking straight forward. I've turned the engine off. Keys are on the dashboard. I'm doing the traffic stop like my son taught me. Another police officer pulls in front of me and literally boxes me in. A third police officer pulls up on this poor person's front lawn and boxes me on the right. A fourth police officer pulls to my left, so they've got police car in front, police car in back, police car in the right, police car in the left. I can't go anywhere. I'm going like, this is not good. I'm looking in the rear view mirror, side view mirror. Police officer behind me gets out of his car. He's covering his gun, which means he has his hand on his gun as he slowly walks to my car. And I roll down the window. I had the window rolled down already. And he gets right up to the window and he goes, and he sort of smiles at me and he says, "You don't look like a 25-year-old black woman." And I go, "That's because I'm not." I swear to God, that's what he says. I said, "That's because I'm not." And he sort of laughs and he says, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" I said, "I have no idea." He says, "Your license plate is in the database as the driver of this car is a wanted fugitive for murder 1 in the city of St. Louis," and he gives a lady's name. I won't throw the name out there. And he says, and she's a 25-year-old black female. And I said, well, that's not me. And if you want my registration papers of right here, my insurance card, the whole bit. Okay, that was a felony traffic stop number 1. Over the course of another couple months, I had felony traffic stop number 2, felony traffic stop number 3. Same thing, not one police officer, several officers surround the vehicle. The cops approach me, with caution, the whole bit. Okay, about a year later, one day in the mail, I get a certificate, or not a certificate, a statement from the city of St. Louis that I owe for 150 traffic tickets. I'm going, 150 traffic tickets? I go, what's this? Over the course of like a month, about every other day in the mail, I get another statement. It got to the point where I owed over 500 traffic tickets. And it got to the point where some of them were like, if you looked at the printout, and it was interesting because it showed me on one day, I think my peak day, I got like 14 or 15 tickets in one day. And they were all parking violations and, things like that. So I have a friend of mine that worked at a local police department. And I went down to him and I showed him this. He was going, what in the world is going on with you? I go, I have no idea. So he has a buddy who works at City PD. So he calls down to St. Louis City and talks to his buddy. And he calls me back the next day. He's laughing. He says, you know what happened? I go, no, tell me. He said, the city of St. Louis went to a new automated parking ticket system where they used to literally write the tickets out by hand and they would stick it on your windshield. Well, they went with this new thing. It's a handheld deal where they put all the stuff in, they key it in, and then there's got a printer attached to it, and the ticket just comes out a little handheld gizmo, and they stick that on your windshield. He said what's happened is that when they come on an abandoned car, they just type in XX.
Oh, there you go, Brad.
So my license number was coming up all over the city, and that's why I had before it ended, I think I was close to 600 traffic tickets that I had in the city of St. Louis. So how many people?
Remember when the St. Louis city had enough officers that they could write parking tickets?
I don't think the city police write any traffic tickets anymore. Okay, Jason Rosenbaum. His noon show today on KWMU at noon, I think a pretty interesting show, and this is sort of what you and I have talked about. He's going to address the fact that in Missouri, we had Missouri go predominantly for Republicans, president, governor, pretty much down the line. But they also went for things like abortion and gambling. So the idea being is, why is it that we have people in the state of Missouri who are politically aligned with Republicans, meaning for the most part, anti-abortion and anti-gambling for the most part? Why is it that they are splitting the ticket? And I think this is a very interesting aspect, because I think what's happened in politics, and you can tell me if you agree with this and not agree, that the experts have painted these pictures of all the blacks as being a monolith, and all the women as being a monolith, and all the 25 to 54-year-old dudes being a monolith. You know what I'm saying?
I do know, yeah.
And the idea being that you could be a woman who voted for Trump and you could vote for abortion, which to a certain extent people go, now hold on a minute, now isn't that sort of, contrary? Well, yeah, it is, but you're saying, you know what? I mean, this is me thinking how they're saying, you know what? I think we need a change, and I think Trump's the guy. And I know he's anti-abortion, or at least he's saying leave it up to the states. But, I'm going to vote for abortion and for Trump, which normally would be, what's the classic quote that when Biden, during the 2000 election, when he was on Charlemagne the God show, he says, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, that kind of.
That's it. Yeah, that's his quote.
Right. I mean, don't you think that's sort of interesting that he's addressing that?
Yeah, I think so. So Jason all week has been promoting this. For those who follow Jason Rosenbaum on social media, you've seen that he's been promoting this all week. He's actually been soliciting listener input for folks who did split their ticket and why they did so. And I think let's harken back at one point to I want to give credit for this idea. Scott Fawn talks about this all the time, that Missouri voters, to use an old cliche, want to eat their cake and have their cake and eat it too. So in other words, they want Republicans to fill their offices. They want to vote Republican. But sometimes they think, well, I kind of do want my neighbors who are big potheads to be able to go buy recreational weed. And by the way, I hear it's all going for veterans, so we might as well vote for marijuana. So yeah, I think that you can you can kind of split the difference. If you don't want to be seen as one of those crazy Republicans in your own mind, you can say, well, yeah, I voted for Republicans, but I think that I heard that women are dying in emergency rooms because of pro-life laws, so I'm just going to vote for Amendment 3.
But see, that shows to me, that proves the point to me that I make all the time. You can't just broad brush any group of people. You can't say everybody who lives in St. Charles County is this, or anybody who lives in Wentzville is that, or anybody who lives in Wildwood is this, or stuff like that. Matter of fact, a guy I ran into the other night was telling me a story that he lives in Wildwood, and his mother, who does not live here, kept calling him up and saying, I saw about this thing in the news about somebody was carjacked in the city of St. Louis. Are you okay? And the idea being those of us that know the area, like, you could see, as far as crime statistics are concerned, I don't think you can have any more tremendous difference between crime stats as the city of St. Louis and Wildwood, if you know what I'm saying.
I don't know. You have a lot of deer that are out there committing crimes, Brad. Not as many that are luring Brad's vehicles into getting hit. I think it's fair to say that you can stereotype people from Spanish Lake. I think it's fair to say that. Speaking of Spanish Lake, folks, Brad, I got an update from our show yesterday, and I got an answer. Lisa Weingarth from Washington University provided me this statistic, which I can use on the air, because you know how I am. If I have communications with people, I generally don't share it. But Brad, she revealed to me, by 10,000 jobs, who has a lead over WashU with the most jobs in the St. Louis area. What was your guess yesterday, Brad?
I said Mercy. Am I right?
Okay, you get one more guess, and I'll give you a hint. You're in the right category.
Is it SSM?
It is BJC.
BJC. Okay, that's right. I knew it was one of the healthcare companies.
By 10,000, so that would put BJC at around 30,000 people, I guess, through their entire networks. That would include back office, physicians, everything, the whole gamut. So BJC, and now again, Lisa didn't specify whether it's, I'm guessing that includes the Metro East as well. But BJC clocking in at like 30,000 employees.
And number 2 is Washington University, which encompasses the university as well as all their healthcare aspects of it.
That's exactly right, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay, John, you know what? We didn't get to the Gavin Newsom thing, and there's interesting stuff going on in California. We'll have to wait till Monday.
Well, that's okay, Brad. We'll be with each other at 7 a.m.
I don't know if I can wait that long, John. John, we should...
Hey, well, just call me at 6 a.m. next time, Brad.
We should do a Saturday show.
I think that would be great for you and Shelley to do on Saturday mornings. Can't you just run another edition of the TJ show, Brad?
John's one of those.
They were talking about their Central Park allergies the other morning. I was like, relatable.
John's not going to let loose of that.
I love you,
John.
You're fantastic.
You're like a dog
with
with
the best part of my day that doesn't involve kids or napping or food or lady friends.
You're like a dog with a bone, man. All I got to do is say something once, and you will bring it up 42,000 times from here to eternity. You know what I'm saying?
I'm doing a deep bow. Thank you, Brad.
Okay. Have a good weekend, John.
You too, Brad.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?